Now, this is an interesting study, and the psychologist's name is Walter Mischel, and he set up a study where he put 4-year-old children in a room, and he put some marshmallows in front of them. And he said to the kids, he said, if you can have 1 marshmallow now, or if I leave the room and you wait till I come back, you can have 2 marshmallows. And as soon as he left the room, you would see these kids agonizing at 4 years old, freaking out about it. Some of them could not resist. Right away, they would eat the marshmallow. Others were like kicking the table or turning their back from the marshmallow. They were freaking out. And so he saw a very big difference between some kids that had no self-control and other kids that could wait. They could hold out 5 or 6 or 7 minutes before he came back. And he thought it was interesting. He chalked it up, and what he was trying to figure out at the time was to see when in our life do we start being able to control ourselves, to have self-control. But the funny thing happened years later when he had kids of the same age. And so his kids went to high school with a bunch of these kids that were in this project. And he started to ask his kids, he said, whatever happened to so-and-so? Whatever happened to so-and-so? And amazingly enough, there's huge statistical evidence that the kids that did very well at being able to resist were doing far better than in school. Now the project is so far out that these kids are 40 and in their mid-40s now. And he has tracked these kids all the way up into their 40s. And their single self-control moment with a marshmallow has determined the majority of their lives. It has determined their success in marriage. It has determined their success in business. It has determined their self-image of how they act towards themselves and how they view themselves. And the question then became, is this something that is in us that we're born with? Or is this something that you can teach? So he went back to the research and he looked at what the kids were doing. And what he realized is all the kids are suffering the same. There's no kid that's immune to these marshmallows like, I don't care about them. But what the kids that were more successful did is they had tricks in their mind to deal with it. So they would imagine the marshmallow as a cloud, so they wouldn't eat it. Like I said, they would turn their back on it so they weren't looking at it. They were kicking the table to be aggressive and not think about it. And the question is, can we all have that ability to teach ourselves how to think outside of what we do on an everyday basis? And I'm just going to conclude with kind of my thoughts on how I view it. Is when I graduated 10 years ago, and when I sat in that class here, every single person I knew was going to only do the thing they loved doing. And most of them wanted to make a lot of money doing it. And everybody had a very amazing air of confidence of what they were going to do. And now 10 years later, most of them are in mediocre jobs. They're not terrible jobs. They're mediocre jobs. They don't like what they're doing. They do nothing about changing it. I said, what do you do? He's like, well, I'm hoping for this promotion next year. What are you doing on your own time that's going to put you out of this situation? And now they have a sense of despair because they hit their 30s and they're not on track, which all of that is baloney anyways. But my point is that, and then they look at me and they say, how do you do this? Oh, how did you do this? How did you do this? And yes, some of it is timing, some of it's luck, some of it is effort. But my point is, you have to seek it out. There has to be at least, if you have Google is giving 20% of their day to work on your own projects, then you need 20% of your day, or 20% of your week, or 20% of your year working on a project that is important to you. That is something that you want to do, and not something that has to be done for class, or something that means nothing and you're just doing it to get it done. And like I said, the people that I asked, and I said, what is important to you? On how you felt you made it as a director, as you made it as your own business person, or as you made it across the field. And they said, I didn't do what was required. I did what I wanted to do. And I mean, this is pretty much all I got for you. Now these, if you want to take any of these, are mind-blowing books or resources that help you change your thoughts. And I will take any questions if anybody has any. Exactly. Okay, well that's a good one. And then what he asked is, what kind of adversity have I looked at? You know, if it wasn't an easy road. It's never an easy road from anybody, and somebody's really bad moment might be somebody else's not really a big deal. And I think part of the way I think the way I do is because when I was 17, I was paralyzed in a car accident. I didn't walk for a year. And I don't really think about it every day that I didn't walk for a year. But when something is upsetting to some people, to me, it's not that big a deal. And I have this idea in my head that I have to do this now, that I don't have time, or that I could have been sitting in a chair and I have this amazing second chance to do something. And yes, maybe that is that put me in this mind frame. But the point is, it's not unique that I'm in this mind frame. Anybody can be in this mind frame. And I sure as heck hope that people don't have to go through a tragedy in order to get to it. Well, what I do with movies is very similar to hospitality in what I scout the locations for the movie. So if in a script it says, you know, 2 people are in a bar talking, then I scout out bars that will fit the script and the time period and the decor of what the director has in mind. And then I negotiate all the contracts. And then I work with the city, the police, the fire. I find where all the actors are going to go. I find out where all the extras are going to eat, where everybody's going to park. So I basically plan a gigantic wedding every day of my life. That's what I do. A location manager? And that's where the kind of luck of the draw comes in sometimes, but I had felt always that I wanted to get into film. I was in sales, and interesting, as I was talking about making use of other materials, when I graduated college, I had some type of mediocre jobs that I wasn't super happy with, and then a couple friends of mine and I, we started a duct tape wallet company. And we produced 30,000 a year of them. And they were all manufactured. I did not make a single one of them. And we were in Hot Topic, Spencer's, The Buckle. And then it was kind of funny because we were just some guys. And then the store